Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. On today's video we're gonna do a little experiment. I downloaded this app called Plant Jammer. I'm gonna leave a link for it down there in the description. And basically on that app you select a bunch of ingredients that you have at home or you wish to buy and use for the recipe, and the app is gonna create a vegetarian recipe for you to use. Now, it doesn't simply say which ingredients to use, it also says how to cook, which quantities of which ones to use, and that's what I thought it was interesting about this recipe. This recipe that I'm gonna make is gonna be a pasta, and on the app it allows you to select how many people you want to cook for. And even though I was cooking just for 2, I decided to select 3 just in case, you know, sometimes the recipes, the amount of food they suggest is really short because it's the recommended amount of food and it's not actually what a person would eat. So I selected 3 people, and obviously all it does is multiply the amount of ingredients by 3, but that's fine. So I'm gonna leave the ingredients and the step-by-step everything in the description, but meanwhile you can follow me in here as I cook this recipe. While I was speaking, I already put 1 pot of water in the stove for boil, and I'm chopping 1.5 onions. Followed by some garlic. I also have my pasta weighed on and ready to go as soon as the water starts boiling with a bit of salt. Adding some olive oil to the pan, followed by a leek. I already had it chopped and frozen, and that's why it's in a plastic bag. I had it from a previous time, and you know, whenever I have vegetables left before they go bad, I always chop them and freeze them. After that, I'm adding the spices, and I must say I didn't add as much as the recipe told me to, because I already thought this amount was a bit ridiculous. The recipe was suggesting something like 3 tablespoons, and I thought that was ridiculous, so I was adding like 2 teaspoons. And even though that's a lot, it comes from a person who uses a lot of spices, so be mindful in that, and obviously make changes to the recipe if you think something sounds ridiculous like it did in this case. I've also added some frozen peas to the mix, to the frying pan. According to the recipe, it takes around 5 minutes for the frozen peas to cook. I had never cooked peas like this before. If I was cooking this out of my own mind, I would add them to the pasta in the water, but I must say that it actually worked out alright and the peas were cooked at the end. Some cream. This recipe, the way I did it, it's vegan, but it doesn't need to be. However, I'm using the cream that I always use, which is soya cream, so it doesn't have any milk in it. It's the one I always use, not because it's vegan, it's just the one I like. It's not too greasy and I find it perfect. I've always used this one, but because I was cooking like this, it also means this recipe is vegan. Before draining my pasta out, I reserved a bit of the water in the mug, and I've added it to the sauce that helps thicken the sauce, and then I've added my pasta. And that is it, guys. The pasta is ready. All I'm doing here right now is just chopping the other half of the onion, because like I said, I only used 1.5, so the other half I chopped it, and yes, you guessed, I put it in a plastic bag, labeled it, and put it in the freezer. Now, what we thought about this pasta. I actually liked it. Josh was not a big fan of it. I just thought it had way too many spices. Even though I adapted them, I still think it was way too many, and that it would have been so much better if it had like half of the amount and maybe a little bit more garlic, but that's because I'm crazy about garlic and I love garlic in everything. I will definitely be repeating something like this. I like the idea of cooking the peas with the onion and the leek. I really like the flavor that also provided to the pasta, and the consistency of the sauce was amazing. And even though in the beginning I was a bit suspicious about the amount of pasta, I thought it didn't look enough, but it ended up being more than enough for the amount of sauce I was cooking. So it's also a good thing to weigh the pasta before cooking it. I'm one of those people who always cooks way too much pasta. So I liked it. In future I will repeat it, but I will reconsider the spices. I'm curious to give this app another test though, another try, and in future I'll probably be using it again and see what else can this app do and what else can it recommend. If you're curious to see another video based on this app, please let me know in the comments. Leave thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and let me also know if you're gonna try this app and see what vegetarian meals you can cook for yourselves. And I'll see you guys on my next video. Enjoy!